Robotic exoskeletons sound like something out of sci-fi, but obviously this is something that seems to potentially have the ability to benefit quite a few people.
Well, they've gone from sci-fi to real life. For the paralyzed community, there's about 550 people that can walk today in one type of exoskeleton. And the new news and the big news for our company is the FDA this past week and the CE the week before in Europe approved a new system for people that have a stroke. And this will start in the clinics to help them learn how to walk again.
So this is more of sort of a rehabilitation device for the stroke victims.
Very much so. There's about 17 million people between the United States and Europe that have a stroke. So this applies to a very broad group of people.
And with the FDA approval, I mean, are they basically making a determination that about the efficacy of it, that this works well enough that it should be out there?
Well, the FDA approval is based on safety, that it works.
Gotcha.
So that's what that data has.
Mm-hmm.
We have brought this out of Harvard University, and there's several published papers on this showing what it does for people who can walk. They can walk further, they can walk faster, and they have better symmetry, so their feet touch the ground in equal passion.
This isn't your first piece of equipment, of course. Restore you had before, ReWalk, and which is, of course, where the name comes from. The trouble has been getting insurers to finance this, right? Why are insurers loath to do it? Why are they slow to do it?
Well, slow to it is probably the right word, but I've got the example. The German government has issued this. If you're a German citizen, 90% of the people are covered. So it's wonderful for us over there. That's leading our sales. The United States, the VA led the way. For the U.S. insurer, the first group that has stepped forward, Cigna changed their policy to remove experimental investigational this past February. So it's about a 3-year process.
I see.
So on the ReWalk side, while we have plenty of people that would like to walk again, that's just not where the insurers are. For the new product and trying to look at a portfolio of a company, because I need success, I need performance financially to drive us. This product has coverage. The reimbursement to clinics for taking care of these patients pays for it in 45-minute increments for every patient, and this can treat enough patients a day where it's economical and affordable for these clinics to be a viable economic play for them when we start selling it next week.
Would you expect over time, like other hardware products, for the cost of your technology and similar technologies to drop? Or will it be more like other medical products in which the laws of supply and demand sometimes feel like they don't apply and go up or stay the same over time?
Well, bringing a product to market is an expensive and long process with regulatory. That tends to slow it down. I think what you will see is the types of systems will be different. So the ReWalk is about a $100,000 device. The Restore sells for $28,900, and it's leased to centers for about $1,100 a month. So the math is already a lot better, and this is a wearable robotic. When you look at it, it's a small, flexible component that fits in the lower leg. It's about 1/8 the size and weight of the original. So
well, maybe we can take a look at that, because you brought someone with you, right?
Certainly.
Who apparently has the device on now, and maybe you can tell us a little bit of what we're looking at here.
Sure. Well, as you look at the young man that's walking with this, what he's got, you can't see this, but inside his shoe is a device like this.
Right.
So if they can see this on the screen, and this just goes inside your normal shoe.
Okay.
And there's a cable to the front that lifts your toes so you clear the ground, lifts your heel to propel the next step. So functionally, this uses cables, like on a bicycle when you pull the brakes, or a marionette. It lifts your toe and it lifts your heel. And it's doing this through sensors and software that is taking a sensor on the healthy leg, and on the paralyzed leg, it's telling it exactly what to do. So you get symmetry, speed match, and distance match for those patients. So what you see or saw in the picture a moment ago was a very lightweight, less than 2 pounds component on the lower leg, and a battery pack and 2 motors that were on the waist.
Right.
Of course, our viewers are investors in many ways. You said in your statement, the pathway is now there to become a break-even and even profitable company. Do you have a timeline for that?
We haven't given out a public forecast on that, but you can look at where we are and where our expenses are, and it's in the next 2 to 3 years. I think for us as a company, the stroke product will penetrate because it's a much larger market and I can already pay for it, and there's nothing else like it. Longer term, this soft robotic technology, it can work for multiple sclerosis perhaps, for stroke victims that need something at the hip, and for Parkinson's disease. So that's part of the long vision of the company, and the rate at which I invest will probably affect the time at which I get to break even in profitability.